Hey, are we ready to get fired up?
Yeah.
I've never been to a good tea party unless we get fired up. It's like the 7th inning stretch. I'm just a dumb mechanic. I fix cars for a living. I sat on the couch and I did nothing for a lot of years. I'm a 46-year-old man that for over 20 years went and voted for people I recognized on the ballot. I helped make this mess, and for that I apologize. But in the complacency, I've decided that I'm going to help inform people so we can unmake the mess. I got a lot of time. Well, no, I don't have a lot of time. But I spend a lot of time on the computer looking things up because, you know, I'm just a dumb guy. I want to know why they're passing bills, what's in the bills. I know we're probably all a little excited about the health care reform bill that they're pushing through, or pushed through and signed into law, more correctly. Anybody here excited about the health care reform? Do we feel reformed?
No.
Quiet crowd. I know they said, hey, we're not going to put the public option in there. We're going to take the public option out because it seems to get the public excited. Guess what they're doing this week? Anybody got an idea?
They're putting it in?
That's right, H.R. 5508. We are going to amend our health care bill to put the public option in that they left out the first time. Do you think they're done reforming America yet?
Just started.
That's why this election cycle is important. Guys, we're at an important stage here. We're going to feel like we're beating our heads against the wall. We're going to feel like they're not listening to us. 76% of America says we support Arizona. So what are we going to do? We're going to sue Arizona. 60% or more of us say we're not for this health care reform. We're for health care reform. We're not for this health care reform. We're going to do this health care reform. We want financial reform. We want protection from predator lenders. We want protection from credit card companies. But they pushed through a financial reform bill, folks, that has no laws in it. It has over 70 committees that over the next 9 to 11 years will make the laws. Guess who gets to help shape those laws? No! The lobbyist. This is the most transparent administration. Remember? We won't have lobbyists in Washington after I get elected president. I promise you. The day after that speech, guess who he met with? He met with the lobbyist. Folks, this is not the most transparent administration. And I'm not going to stand here and say President Bush was a good president for this nation. President Bush got handed a bad hand. He got handed some bad cards after he got into office. He made some bad decisions. I believe there's progressives, and I believe there's progressive lights. President Bush was a progressive light. He just did it slower. We were the frogs that were in the pan that was slowly getting heated up. Folks, we are now being boiled, all right? They got their foot on the pedal. They're pushing things through. They see that we're upset. They need to make some changes. I'm telling you, after this election, after we've spoken our mind, there's going to be some ugly points. We cannot quit. We cannot feel like we're beat. We still have to push through. Because guess what? They feel like they're being beat right now. If you see some of the speeches that they're giving at their progressive assemblies, they're scared too. We need to be stronger. We need to pray to our God. I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell you, we need to pray to our God. God will guide us. Gosh, I blew most of my notes off here, so I will try to see if I can gather myself. Did we know in the financial reform bill, does anybody, this is an interactive part, anybody know two of the biggest companies in America that drove us down that financial wreck?
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Okay. Why did Goldman Sachs get a pass? And what was the company that didn't get a pass? Anybody remember the company that didn't get a pass and was allowed to? So why did Goldman Sachs get a pass? Do we realize that the Bush administration had 6 executives from Goldman Sachs in his administration? Do we think we have an agenda when we cross lines like that? We pick and choose winners in the federal government, and that leads to picking and choosing winners in our state government. We cannot any longer be asleep at the wheel. So in the new financial reform bill, the two guys that were involved would be Dodd and Frank. Anybody recognize those names? Why is their names on a bill that they created? I remember Barney Frank standing at a podium saying, we're fine going forward, just 9 months before the crash. How can a man be that clueless and then stand there and say, it was President Bush's fault? It was all President Bush's fault. I'm sorry, but President Bush and Mr. McCain, who not a big fan of either guy, but they both said we need to rein in Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And guess what Congress said? The democratically controlled Congress said, no, they're just fine. We got it under control. All right, so I got in here that the financial bill is so vague you can add rules at a later date. That is true. Now I hear, as I read on, that most bills we create nowadays, we create guidelines that committees create rules for and laws for later on. I don't understand how we can make a law that we can make rules for later on. I'm a little confused on that, so maybe some of our congressmen in the crowd that are running for the seat can explain to me if they're going to actually make laws or continue to make guidelines so we can make laws later on when we're not paying attention. I don't know if anybody knows this, but in this new bill that we passed, the financial reform bill, government entities no longer have to respond to Freedom of Information Acts. Is everybody aware of that? So that means if you call your local SEC chapter and say, I want to know how you decided to shut down this company, guess what they get to say? Go to our website, we'll give you the information that we deem that you need to have. They don't any longer have to answer Freedom of Information Acts. That was in our financial reform bill. I got to wonder why we don't want the people that we pay being accountable to us. I get confused on that point. Healthcare reform bill. I think we got an executive order. That's what Mr. Stupak bargained for. And maybe there's more. We'll wait and see after he gets out of office. But he bargained for an executive order that no federal funds will be used for elective abortions. Is that correct? Anybody know how many states now allowing elective abortions with federal funds? Anybody know what the count's up to yet? It's still on one hand. We got 3 states now that's passed rules that allows federal funds through this health care reform bill to be used for elective abortions. I'm sorry, but I don't want my tax dollars used for that. I think that should be a choice that we get to make. All right, folks, this is why it's time for us to get engaged. I'm not a big fan of term limits. You can put term limits in. If you get a good man, guess what? He's done. Men are corruptible, I know, but there might be a good man amongst this crowd, amongst these people running that could do a good job there for 10 years. That's up to us to decide if they're doing a good job or they're not doing a good job. If you tell me that a guy's going to get in there and after 6 years he has to get out, what if he's a good man? Or a woman? All right, we're gonna clear up. When I say man, I mean woman, kind of like the Bible when it says mankind. It includes women. All right.
That's Kim Edmonds.
It's our job to create the term limits. We failed. If we sit here and continually point the finger at them and say, you failed me, if we're voting them in, we failed ourselves. Okay? We haven't talked to our neighbors. We haven't talked to our friends. We haven't gotten our people woke up to what's wrong. I am not going to sit here and point the finger at our 2 senators, Stabenow and what's the other guy, Levin. Because guess what? I voted for them, folks. Because I recognize their stinking name. It's my fault. Okay? And everybody that's standing here saying, how can you do that? We just voted them in 2 years ago. This is crazy. We are at fault. We have not woken ourselves up. We have not woken our neighbors up. So it's time to wake ourselves up and wake our neighbors up. We cannot point the finger at them and say it's all their fault. All right? We fell asleep at the wheel. We let the minority start running for the majority. So that's my feeling. I hope it's your feeling. I hope you're excited about being here today. And I hope that we continue to make a difference in this nation.
All right, let's remember accountability. Let's make them be accountable. They work for us. We don't work for them. This is a job interview. This next gentleman I met Thursday night, very nice gentleman, had a good chat with him. Joel, come on up.